at least to my knowledge, directly with generators specifically.
Correct,
They were more broad-scale RV industry type of workers, but they took to it extremely quickly and adapted, and they have become, very crucial members of the team. So they've done a good job of helping out Kayla. So
very much.
Shout out to those two.
Love them both so much.
Now that we've got some of that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about some frequently asked questions. So you spend a lot of your days answering phone calls from end users or people at our OEM partners that are requesting, assistance with problems that they're having. And then also the customer service emails and stuff like that comes in. Colin and Alyssa obviously have helped to alleviate a lot of that workload off of you, but even still, I've said before, I think you might have as much of a deep knowledge of the generators and what goes wrong and how to troubleshoot them than even our service technicians do, at least. You're at least on that same level. So you're about as good as anybody to ask. What are the most commonly asked questions and problems that you tend to face when you're answering end users, and what would be some tips and tricks you would give?
Sure, yeah. So we have a couple of different SKUs of materials. We have our 2800, we have our 4000, and we have our 5500. And on all of those, generally, we have similar questions. However, they're all installed differently in different applications. So our 4000 IE or EM now, our new product that is out, they all come with different challenges. The main one I get is, a unit's not starting. So, let's back into why it's not. Do we have good battery volts? Do we have good fuel? Is the fuel selection lever in the right place?
It's a big one.
Big one, right? So because our product is semi-new to the industry, people are so used to doing things the way that things used to be done, right? With other competitors. And so we always ask those 4 questions off the bat. What are we doing here? What's it installed on? What's it look like? We're doing something on the phone. I'm not in front of the coach. So I have to close my eyes and walk through those steps with them. And thank you for, supporting the experience that I have and, touting that. It has been, I'm behind a computer and a screen, and I'm not with the guys out on the, the floor doing it. So it's been a lot of, I have to, memorize what it looks like in my brain. And so having that knowledge and being able to go through that, and, batteries, we need to have, 12.6 plus to get a button start, on the front panel. It'll start at 8 volts on the pull start. All of our generators have a pull start. Do we have good fuel? Let's check that. If it's a carbureted unit, how long has it been set? How long did it sit? Did it get winterized? These are things that we ask, and people sometimes get annoyed by them, but it's good for us to gather that information. Another thing is low oil. So our low oil cutoff on our generators cuts spark completely. So if the low oil light illuminates at all on that panel, it's not going to allow the unit to start. And so we've had to, explain to people we need to add a little oil. And then they give us the feedback of the dipstick. Well, I understand the dipstick might show full. However, our largest selling generator, our 4000 which we sold for years, has 2 reservoirs in it for oil to be held, one in the rear and one in the front, and the oil sensor is in the rear. So people sometimes, it might show full on the front and it's not full in the rear. So we kind of work through that. Low oil is a big one. Also, if a generator starts or isn't starting and we're having an issue with the connection of the interior panel. So another thing that we have end users do, OEMs do, and dealerships do is disconnect the remote harness from the generator itself. It's located on the left-hand side of the generator outside. And then we isolate it, and we use just the battery power and the fuel source off the coach to determine if we're going to get a start. And if we get a start, I'll let it run, we'll put a load on it, we'll apply it and run the generator and make sure it's, working. And then, unfortunately, at that point in time, our hands are kind of tied just based on whatever the OEM is using for that interior panel setup. And that could be a Firefly system or, Lippert One Control or an In Command. Unfortunately, those aren't our products. However, we work hand in hand with them, and we work hand in hand with those manufacturers to make sure that their panel works with our generator. However, we don't have the knowledge or know-how to support that and or troubleshoot it. And I wouldn't want to, because those panels usually control other things in the coach as well. So I never want myself or Alyssa or Colin or even our service technicians going in and making any changes and or adjustments on them, because it could impact something else on the coach. And I don't want to have that customer or dealer have to deal with that as well. in terms of really, those are my common questions, honestly. No starts, we start with that process, and we go from there. And, we have parts readily available if a generator does have a malfunction. The nice thing about our generators, there's probably less than 10 components inside it that I would ever have anybody replace. We've never done an engine replacement or pistons or rings or, things like that. We just don't get in the business of that because that, for one, it makes me have to have a lot of inventory of parts on my shelf that I don't want to keep.
Yeah.
And secondly, I don't want to make it so hard for a customer to get serviced and get taken care of. My biggest thing is what's the quickest we can get them back on the road, what is feasible for the dealership to do in regards of work, and making sure that warranty hours are paid. That is a big thing, is that someone is working on this coach and their time needs to be paid for. And we do that as a company. So making sure that all those things and components are taken care of in a warranty scheme is really important for us. Our warranty is a standard 2-year warranty or 2,000 hours based on, the hour meter on the generator itself. The warranty, unfortunately, is not transferable. So it stays with the first owner. If at any time that generator has to be replaced within that 2 years, the warranty is then whatever is the remaining of. And I think that's pretty standard across the board for most manufacturers. And same thing for our aftermarket, our portable generators and our water heaters as well. Those all stay the same. In terms of any troubleshooting for our water heaters, I forgot that we have that product. we focus. My focus really most days is on the generators, but our water heaters are really simple to be troubleshot. We don't carry a wide variety of parts. I carry, the doors and the remotes, and we really base it on if we're getting good water flow. Good water flow is good. It ignites the unit starts, it goes through the cycle. If we have low water flow, it's not going to ignite. So we're going to ask customers if they have any inline filters or potentially a pressure regulator. Pressure and flow are different. So flow of water and rate is what we are basing our ignition on, not the pressure coming out of the spigot itself. And most of our water heaters, when we have a unit that needs to be replaced or a malfunction, we replace the entire thing for speed, accuracy of getting it right the first time and diagnosing it. It could come back to us and it could be something really simple. And us as a company, we're going to figure that out. But we're not going to ever have anybody be in a position that they have to change all these parts out. And, we're guessing at that point in time. So we just don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I just learned a whole lot, as I'm sure all of you guys did too. But that's what I was talking about earlier. Kayla just has this whole well of knowledge, and she really knows her stuff. So if anybody was to have a problem with a generator and they needed to get a hold of our customer service and they wanted to talk to you, how would they go about doing that?
So we have a couple different ways to reach us. We have 855-427-7978 is our main line, and that connects to our customer service, our warranty, our troubleshooting technicians. You'll probably get me on the phone at some point in time, or Alyssa and Colin. We also have a support email, support@rvmp.com. And we also have a chat inbox on our website. So you can go visit our website, take a look at that. And there's an inbox that pops up, and that reports to our desks as well. So there's multiple different ways to reach us. If you are a dealership and you need training or want training, you can contact us through those avenues as well. We'd be happy to set up either a virtual training or in-house training with your technicians. We do not require technicians or dealerships to be certified to work on our units. And the reason we don't is because it becomes very, very hard for a customer to get an appointment with those people. It makes it very hard for them to get serviced quickly. So we work with a wide variety of dealerships across the country that aren't certified, and that's okay. We are working with them with our diagnostics and our technicians and my team to make sure that they're, giving the right solution to the customer. But if there's dealerships out there that want training, please contact us. We're happy to do that. We're happy to send our team out. Maybe I'll go out with them, which is fun. I love going out and visiting our customers. So
anything to get out of the office.
Yes, I've been here long enough. No.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit about our customer service, what we can offer. I think that it's a great little place to be in.
And it's getting better every day.
Yeah.
yeah, Colin and Alyssa have done a lot to do that, and our great service team, Nolan, Tyler, Mike, Forrest, who we just brought on. Shout out to all of you guys.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for us,
Awesome.
Kayla. You have been our first ever guest on the RV Mobile Power Hour,
Thanks.
at least since we revamped it. So,
I love it.
So glad that we could have you sit down and
Me
take
too.
the time to speak to us. And if you have any questions about things she said, you can rewind this video and watch through everything that she just dropped, or you can reach out to rvmp.co or the phone number or the email that she just talked about and try and get in touch with us. So, Kayla, thank you so much for
Thanks,
speaking with
Christopher.
us. And we'll go ahead and move it on to the next segment. Alrighty guys, so as promised, we are going to go ahead and get into this next segment, which is going to be a product spotlight. And today we're going to be talking about the 4500 IES, which is what you see sitting on the table right here. So as mentioned in the intro, this is one of our most popular as well as one of our most powerful portable generators that we currently offer as a part of the Flex Power line. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the basic quality of life features, some of the better features included in it, and also give you some basic specs. Things that set this generator apart from maybe our competitors' generators of a similar kind of power output. So we're going to go a little bit in depth into this, give you a good look at what to expect if you were to get a 4500 IES. So first off, this is an inverter generator. It's also both electric start and pole start. So you can see the pole start cable on the front right here. And then you can also see the electric start button right here, that right there that I'm pressing. This is dual fuel as well, so this runs on both gas and LP, which is a big deal to a lot of people, as I'm sure some of you know. That's the receptacle you would have down there on the corner. And then you also have the telescoping handle, which is one of the niftiest quality of life features that I think it comes with the 45. So this little handle up here extends outward, very much like a suitcase. And then you can see it has these wheels on the corners. So when you're transporting it, moving it around, getting it set up, instead of having to carry it with you, you can actually just pull out that handle, tilt it back on its wheels, and move it behind you like it's a suitcase, which is super nice and super, super convenient when you're trying to just move it and get it set up to the place you want to put it in. Then over here on the side, you can see the 5 different receptacles that it has included. So if you lift up these 2 lids, you're going to see those 4 outlets. Those are the 4 AC 120 volt receptacles. And then below those, you lift up right here, you're going to see the 130 amp RV receptacle right there. So all those are on this side panel of the generator. This thing can be run in parallel, which I know is a big point of interest to a lot of people. And then also it's 4,500 starting watts, 120 volts. It runs at 54 decibels, which is a pretty good noise range. That's very solid, pretty quiet. And then it also only weighs 76 pounds. And we'll get a little bit more into how much of an improvement that is in terms of weight in comparison to some of our competitors here in a minute. For a second though, I want to just give you the dimensions. This thing is 23.81 inches long, 12.59 inches wide, and 22.04 inches in height. So those are the dimensions of it. That's how much space it takes up. Moving on to the weight, as I said we would, this thing is 76 pounds, so it's extremely light, especially for its size, and that gives it a lot more flexibility and capability. If you compare this thing to, let's say, the Honda portable generators, like the 7000 EU, which is rated at 5,500 watts, that thing weighs 262 pounds. So obviously much, much heavier. If you look at the EM5000SX from Honda, which is rated at 4,500 watts, so the same as this one, that thing weighs 232 pounds. So once again, still a massive, massive difference in overall weight between that generator and this one. Then you look at Onan. They have the P4500 IDF that's rated at 4,500 watts, just like this generator, and that thing weighs in at 105 pounds. So definitely a step down from the Honda portables, but still over 25 pounds heavier than what you see here with the 45 IES. So our generator is among the 4,500, around that range of portable generator model compared to our biggest competitors. This thing is much, much lighter, and that is, you know, one of the biggest pain points for people when they're getting a portable generator is, I'm getting a portable generator, I don't want it to be super cumbersome to use and move around. Well, not only is this thing super light, but then you have the handle as well and the ability to roll it. Super convenient, and it makes life so much better when you're using it. So it's a great quality of life feature. In addition to the weight efficiency, ours is also more cost efficient. So the 45 IES is sold at $1,000 through our website. If you go and look at it at rvmp.co or at myflexpower.com, we have it listed as like $999.99 or something like that. But essentially $1,000 is the cost for this generator. The other generators that I spoke about from our competitors, those are all in the 1 to 2,000 or even higher than that range. So multiple thousands of dollars we're talking here. So not only is this generator smaller and lighter and have a lot of really great capabilities, but it's also a good amount cheaper as well. So all great positive traits of the 4500 IES. There's a reason it's one of our most popular portable generators, if not our most popular portable. If you want to learn more about the 4500 IES, you absolutely can do that by going to rvmp.co. That's our main company website. Or you can go to myflexpower.com. That's a website dedicated specifically to our portable generator line. You can go to either one of those sites and check out a little bit more in-depth detail about the 45 if you want to look at the spec sheet yourself, make direct comparisons, or look at customer reviews, see how other people are liking the product. You can absolutely go to those sites and do that. But yeah, I think that just about covers it for the stuff I wanted to cover in terms of the 4500. That's going to wrap it up for this segment of Product Spotlight. Let's go ahead and move it on to our last segment of the show, which is going to be On the Road with RVMP. All right, guys, let's wrap up today's show with On the Road with RVMP, where we go through some of your guys' customer testimonials and reviews that you have left at our various different sites and pages. Today, we're going to be reading through 3 different reviews, all of them taken from rvmp.co. So if you would like to have a review read in the future, make sure to leave one over there on the website. You can also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, drop something down in the comment section, a review if you want, and we'll see if we can fit that into a future episode of the show. But let's go ahead and get into our first review. This one comes from Jim Fritzinger. He says, "Thank you, Grant. Great service." Shout out Grant Gillis, our OEM account manager, as well as head salesman on the back end, good friend of mine. Jim says, "Due to excellent and diligent efforts of Grant and the staff at RVMP, I received the 4,500 watt generator I ordered well before the departure date. The Onan generator in my RV went out while en route to Florida. What a blessing they are." Thank you, Jim. Nice that this is a review on the 4,500, being that we just talked about it in our product spotlight. And shout out to Grant once again. Grant Gillis, good guy. Takes care of a lot of our sales on the back end with our end users, as well as managing our OEM accounts with our main partners and manufacturers. So shout out to Grant for giving this guy some good service, and we are glad, Jim, that the 45 is working well for you. We're also glad that you are a fan of RVMP and our service. Moving on to our next review, this is going to come from a man named Ernest Alexander. He says, "Nice little unit. I received the little 2800 watt unit. Customer was very happy with the ease of installation. It replaced an older Cummins, everything bolted up really easy, and appreciated all the little extra touches that made the swap so easy. It's great to have a viable choice now in RV generators. Great job, RVMP." Thank you, Ernest. He is speaking about the 2800. I'm going to assume 2800E, could also be the 2800I. Doesn't really matter either way, but must be a RV supplier or dealer or RV maintenance man who was asked by one of his customers to switch out one of the Cummins generators from a customer's RV, and they installed a 2800 in there in its place. Seems like everything went well. Glad that you had a good experience with it, and glad that we are able to continue to supply you guys with our generators going forward into the future. So thank you, Ernest, for the kind review. And then finally, we have one from Jeff Crosby. He said, "Installed in a 2004 Class C. It was an easy install, replacement for an old Onan 4000. Started on the first button push. I already have 25 hours on the generator in some high California temperatures this month. No problem running the AC and keeping the RV cool." That is, once again, really good news. I'm assuming this is a review on the 4000E generator. Once again, could be the 4000i either. Either way, doesn't really matter. The 4,000 watt generator that we supply. California temperatures, yeah, can get pretty hot out there, as I'm sure everybody knows. So glad that it's working out for you. Glad that it was able to be a good, solid solution. And once again, thank you so much for your kind review, and thank you so much for your continued business. We really appreciate it. that is going to do it for the customer reviews. Let's go ahead and wrap the show up. A few quick notes before we go. Make sure to keep an eye out for the official 4000E mini drop to the rvmp.co website. I did a whole segment on the new 4000E mini in last week's episode, a new drop to the Flex Power line. We're very excited and proud of that product and the way that it's pushing the industry forward. So if you do have interest in that, make sure to keep an eye out for it for when it officially releases onto the RVMP website. We also, excuse me, we also want to remind you yet again, like I did at the top of the episode, please continue to leave us reviews. You can do that at our website. You can do that at the YouTube page or Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. Leave us words of encouragement or leave us, criticism, whatever it may be. We really do want to hear all kinds of opinions from you guys so that we can better address problems we may be having and just give you guys the best experience with our products as we possibly can. So do not hesitate to leave us a review at the website or in the comment section below. That is going to do it, though, for this episode of the RV Mobile Power Hour. Once again, my name is Chris O'Connor. It has been an honor and a pleasure to host today's show for you all, and we hope you guys come back for next week's episode. Happy camping.